What is going on, Project MoshPit? Torn here because Joey wanted me to post a video on this channel, and I was like, not bad. Anyways, looking at my opponent, MrJamVad's team, his Venusaur is obviously going to be a threat in the sun, as it can outspeed my entire team. However, I do have Mamoswine and Scisor's priority to keep his Venusaur in check, and I can check Salamence with Mamoswine. Gastrodon won't be that much of a problem because I'm running Hidden Power Grass on my Rotom Wash. And other than that, it looks like it's going to be a fun battle, so let's get started already. He's going to be leading off with his Fortress. I'm leading with Rotom Wash. I figured I should just dump the Choice Scarf right off the bat since it would be better than just going for the Volt Switch turn 1. After all, he does have a Gastrodon, which just switched in on my trick. Now I'm going to go for the safe Hidden Power Grass because I figured he might think I don't have the HP Grass, so he just tried to Toxic something before switching. But instead, he switches in his Ninetales to take the hit and get his weather up first. I don't want to get hit by an Energy Ball or a Solar Beam, so I'm going to switch into my Tyranitar to get rid of his weather and take whatever he wants to throw at me, since I am the specially defensive variant. He's actually going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, noticing I have pretty much like all physical attackers, and Rotom Wash obviously doesn't want to stay in with a lowered speed, and risk getting hit by a grass move. Tyranitar won't be able to do much now that it's burned, so the best move for me to go is go for the Stealth Rock, even though he has a Fortress as a spinner. He's going to switch out his Ninetales and switch in his Infernape, and by looking at this team, I'm thinking his Infernape is most likely holding the Choice Scarf, that or his Salamence. I'm obviously going to switch out my Tyranitar because it's an Infernape. I'm switching in Landorus because I know him going for the U-turn or close combat is pretty damn obvious. I see no Life Orb Recall and I calc the damage. There's a high chance that he's Choice Scarf, so now I'm keeping this information in my head throughout the battle as he switches in his Gastrodon. I have no idea why I hard switched instead of going straight for the U-turn, but Rotom Wash would have been on the field this turn regardless. He's going to go for the Ice Beam trying to hit my Landorus, and Rotom Wash takes a hit easily because it has natural bulk. I was pretty sure that he was going to switch out this turn, seeing as how he's locked into the Ice Beam, and earlier I tried to attack his Gastrodon with the Hidden Power. So that led me to go for the Volt Switch, as he actually stays in and uses the Ice Beam, and of course, he gets the freeze. Now that I'm frozen, he figures he can freely switch in his Venusaur, which is exactly what happens here. Here, I use an old 4th gen tactic. I see that I get hit by a Sandstorm, and I get my Leftovers recovery first, so I know that I'm actually faster than the Venusaur. And if I manage to thaw out, I can Volt Switch out to something that can easily take a hit, which is exactly what happens here. Now I'm going to switch in my Jirachi, thinking he might go for the Energy Ball, but instead he's actually going to go for the Leech Seed, knowing that this isn't a favorable matchup, and I'm more than likely going to get my Rotom Wash out of the field. Because Leech Seed goes after Leftovers, he doesn't see that I have it. So now he's probably thinking I have some like speed investment and might go for the Substitute even though I don't have it to avoid a Sleep Powder and stuff. That doesn't happen since I'm just gonna go for the Body Slam and try to paralyze this thing, as he actually ends up to switching in his Fortress, which does end up getting paralyzed. I'm just gonna switch out to my Rotom Wash because all his Fortress could do is just use Rapid Spin or set up his own hazards. However, I get a free switch because it gets fully paralyzed, so it's like whatever. Now I'm actually gonna make quite an aggressive move. I'm going to predict him to switch in his Gastrodon, and I'm going to go for the Hidden Power Grass over the Volt Switch. It does around 75%ish, but it doesn't matter, so I'm just going to take him out with another one as he stays in. I figured that he would want to stay in because I could just easily Volt Switch it to something else. Venusaur comes in, and I know I'd be able to outspeed it because first of all, it's in the sand, not in the sun. And second of all, my Rotom Wash was able to outspeed it earlier. So with this information, I know I can safely go for a Volt Switch and go out to my Jirachi as Sleep Fodder. Because I saw the Leech Seed, I'm thinking that he's the Sub-Seed variant. So I feel like switching in my Landorus and try going for the Sand Force boosted Earthquake to do a significant amount of damage to this thing would be the ideal play. He's actually going to go for that Leech Seed and sap some of my health. Not much of a big deal. He's going to predict the Earthquake and go out to his Salamence to avoid it. He doesn't have Intimidate, and he's most likely not going to be running double Scarfers on a Sun team. So this Mence is most likely going to try and set up or hit me with a strong move. Either way, if he kills me with Outrage, I can simply just go out to my Mamoswine and Revenge Killer with an Ice Shard. Staying in with Landorus and going for the Hidden Power Ice would be the ideal play. Now he's going to go out to his Ninetales to get his Sun up. Him switching out is super obvious, but I didn't care, and I went straight for the Earthquake as he switches in his Fortress. I can just easily switch out or U-turn and go out to something else the following turn. I want to go for the U-turn to pretty much negate his Leftovers recovery for this turn. I got a critical hit, which is even better. I'm going to switch in my Rotom Wash to get some Volt Turn action going on as he spins away my rocks. He's going to switch in his Venusaur as I can just freely go for the Volt Switch as his Gastrodon is out of the picture. And now I'm going to go into my Mamoswine because I have the Ice Shard and I can just deal tons of damage to this Venusaur. I'm thinking that an Adamant Max Attack Life Orb boosted Ishard would be able to take down this Venusaur at this much health, but it survives with minuscule health, and he's going to bring me to minuscule health as well with Giga Drain. And with this amount of health, I only have 2 Life Orb recoils left. He doesn't want to let his Venusaur die just yet, so he's going to switch in his Fortress to take hits and kind of Life Orb stall me. I'm going to stay in with Mamoswine because if I switch out, he might decide to set up his hazards as I'm doing so. Therefore, staying with Mamoswine and getting in as much damage as I can before I die is the best move. He actually gets paralyzed here. He probably went for the Stealth Rocks or hazards or whatever. Now I'm going to go out to Rotom just so I can get another Volt switch in. He's going to switch in his Venusaur to sponge whatever I could possibly use against him. I'm going to switch in my Scizor with the Volt switch because I can easily take down this Venusaur with the Bullet Punch. There's no way in hell this Venusaur is living this Bullet Punch, so this can finally go away. He's going to switch in his Infernape, and even though it is frail and I am Choice Banded, Bullet Punch won't be able to kill it at this range, so I obviously need to switch out. I'm going to go out to my Tyranitar predicting the Flare Blitz, but he predicts that and goes for the Close Combat, which is obviously going to kill my Tyranitar even with the Chople Berry. I'm going to switch in my Landorus, seeing as how I can just wreck the remainder of his team with a couple of Earthquakes, and his Infernape is locked into Close Combat. He's switching in his Ninetales because my weather-inducing Pokemon is gone, and his Scarf Inferno can just spam Sun-boosted fire moves, most likely Flare Blitz is going to be used. He used Flare Blitz, and because Jirachi has pretty decent HP stat, Infernape is going to take a ton of recoil damage. I'm switching in my Scizor because after he uses Flare Blitz, he's definitely going to die from recoil. It looks like he wants to save his Infernape for later, so he's switching in his Fortress to take the incoming Bullet Punch. I'm going to switch out to my Rodent because I can easily knock this Fortress out with the Volt Switch. And here he decides to get up his rocks after an Asian year and a half, maybe thinking after the damage he might be able to beat me. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to knock it out with the Volt Switch and switch in my Landorus. Landorus is going to get outsped and KO'd by Flare Blitz. Not much to say for this turn. Now I could go out to my Scizor, kill Infernape with Bullet Punch, but Rodent Watch looks cool, so I'm going to live the Flare Blitz, kill his Infernape, and win the match. You know, that was a fun game, MrJamVad. Hope you, the viewers of Project MoshPit, enjoyed this video. And if you did, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys later.